Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear viewers, welcome to another live edition of Ask Huda. All praises due to Allah alone. We praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, none can show him guidance. May the greatest peace and salutations be upon Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Let me remind you in the beginning of this edition with our contact informations, phone numbers beginning with the area code 002, then 0109 518 5170. Alternatively, area code 002, then 01005469 and the WhatsApp numbers for international callers, area code 001 347-806-0025, and finally area code 001-361-489-1503. You can definitely watch us and view our programs live on our YouTube channel, Huda TV on the YouTube channel, and the Facebook page of Huda TV, and my personal homepage, Salah Official. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First caller today is Brother Muhammad from Malaysia. Welcome to Ask Huda, Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum ya Muhammad. Okay, why don't you try again? Let's take another caller. Well, Al Hassan Sasai is asking a question on the page. His question is it highly recommended to make dua after the conclusion of every compulsory prayer? As a matter of fact, if you mean after every prayer, you mean after the tashahhud and before making taslim, so this is highly recommended in every prayer, whether it is compulsory or voluntary. So whether it is dhuhr or the sunnah before or the sunnah after. Because the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, whenever any of you recites at-tashahhud, which is at-tahiyyatu lillah, was-salawatu wat-tayyibat, all the way to the end, innaka hamidun majid, in the last rak'ah, and prior to making taslim, you should recite the following supplication. And he said you should seek refuge with Allah against 4 trials by saying, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min fitnati al-mahya wal-mamat wa fitnati al-masihi ad-dajjal. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabin fi an-nar wa adhabin fi al-qabr. So these are 4 calamities that every prayer, whether voluntary or mandatory, after you recite tashahhud, and while you're sitting, moving your index finger, and before making taslim, you should recite that. It's highly, highly recommended. To say, Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you against the trials of life and death, the trial of the false Messiah. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you against the torment of hellfire and against the torment in the grave. Then also Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to seek forgiveness from Allah for all the sins by saying, اللهم اغفر لي ما قدمت وما أخرت وما أسررت وما أعلنت وما أنت أعلم به مني أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر لا إله إلا أنت. That is also before making taslim. After the prayers, if you want to recite supplication, it's permissible, but there is no specific recommendation to recite the supplication after every prayer though. But generally speaking, if any person wants to recite the supplication or invoke Allah at any part of the day or the night, even after the prayers fard or nafila, it is permissible. If you mean by that, after making taslim. As we heard that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Mu'adh ibn Jabal, may Allah be pleased with him, Ya Mu'adh, indeed I love you, فلا تدعن دبر كل صلاة أن تقول اللهم أعني على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. So the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, addressed Mu'adh ibn Jabal, who was one of the greatest companions, by saying to him, I love you for the sake of Allah. So I'm going to advise you, you should never forget to say after every prayer or by the end of the prayer, Allahumma, O Allah, a'inni, help and assist me, ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Three things. Assist me to remember you, to be grateful to you, and to offer my ibadah in the best fashion. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum. Javeed from India. Assalamu alaikum, Javeed.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh.
Javeed, welcome to Huda TV. Go ahead.
Sheikh? Hello?
Yes, Bismillah. Go ahead. What is your question, Javeed?
Sheikh, I have just completed my university and I'm a civil engineer. Hello?
Please, Javeed, just say your question all at once. I hear you clearly. Bismillah.
So, Sheikh, I'm a civil engineer. I'm going to work in a non-Muslim company. So if a non-Muslim comes with a plan in which he has a prayer room, is it permissible for me to go on and construct that building?
Look, Akhi, it is permissible for a Muslim to partake in the construction of every and any building which serves lawful business transactions or restaurants for dining. Then if people add to it what is haram or misuse it in what is haram, he is not blameworthy. But it is not permissible for a Muslim to partake in the construction of a place of worship where he certainly knows that people who worship other than the Almighty Allah and associate with Him in worship would worship Allah, would worship besides Allah or other than Allah in this place. He is not permitted to be part of that. But what about at the airport where there is a chapel? This chapel, Muslims offer the prayer there. It's not actually a church, it's not a synagogue, it's a room where people can offer their prayers. If it is something similar to that, that is different than building a place of worship or a temple for the Muslims to worship other than Allah. Muslims are not permitted to partake in any of these projects. Barakallahu feek. Javid from India. Assalamu alaikum. Salhin from Canada. Welcome to Huda TV, brother Salhin.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead, Salhin.
Sheikh, my question is, in Islam, are we allowed to sue an employer or even a government if we get terminated from our workplace due to not taking the COVID-19 vaccine?
You said it's permissible to do what?
Is it permissible to sue an employer for money or something like that if they
okay, I got your question. Look,
right.
Let me share with you those who live particularly in North America. Everyone can sue anyone, even for no reason. There was a lady who ordered coffee from the drive-thru, and instead of putting it on the cup holder, she put it on her thigh and it flipped and it burned her skin. So she sued the franchise for $5 million. And she actually made some fortune out of that. When you ask me as a Muslim, is it permissible? No, because it's your fault. But the lawyers will find a way to get you some sort of compensations or to blackmail the employer so that they will pay you some settlement. Muslims do not go about things this way. But if vaccination is optional in Canada and your employer fired you because you chose freely not to be vaccinated, and this is your call, it's optional. So can I sue them for that? Yeah, it's your right, because the law permits you to do that. The thing is, make sure that you do not pretend and you do not assume or act upon something that does not exist. I've known people who pretended to fall and they said they have a back pain and they stayed at home for years getting paid. This payment is haram because he's not aching, he's not in pain. But somebody was fired due to discrimination, racism, bullying, for no valid reason. Can I sue them? Sue them. And if you have some right, the law will get it for you, insha'Allah. So up until this moment, if the vaccination is optional in Canada. I'm not sure it's coming to be obligatory in many places in the USA. If it is optional and you choose whether to do or not to do so, you're exercising your freedom right, and you should not be blamed for that. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. Assalamu alaikum. Sufyan from India. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam. May Allah bless you, Sheikh, and Huda TV.
Ameen, ameen. And same to you, Sufyan. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sheikh, I asked you a question few days ago regarding politics, and my question was if there are two political parties whose leaders are Kafir, but one party is with Islam and another is against Islam. So you said that we can support the party who is with Islam. Now, Sheikh, my question is, can we Muslim take part in election under the flag of the party whose leader is Kafir, but that party is not against Islam?
Well, I think you just repeated the question, and the answer is going to be the same. We look at it from this perspective as the benefit-risk ratio. The party which will serve Muslims better, or they will not cause harm to Muslims. If we have two parties or more, we know that one party, they are totally Islamophobes and against Islam and Muslims, and they're going to put a Muslim ban, as Trump did in the States. It will be foolish to go and elect this party. That's haram. What about if you just stay home and be passive and say both of them are non-Muslims and I don't care? That's also not smart, and you're blameworthy. Why? Because if my vote can have an effect on a change in the ballots, where people who are non-Muslims, I live in a non-Muslim country, but these guys are more gentle, these guys are nicer, are kinder, or politically correct, or they're going to give us as Muslim minority our rights, then I would definitely go and vote, and I would take my family members and vote. I'm not voting for Islam or against Islam. It's a matter of al-masalihu wal-mafasid. And wording of a harm is given precedence to achieving a benefit. درء المفسدة مقدم على جلب المنفعة. So there is an imminent harm. We know this party are going to oppress Muslims. The other party is trying to be nice with Muslims. Okay, I'm going to cast my vote for the party who would be kind to Muslims. They make deals with Muslims. They grant Muslims their rights and so on. Barakallahu feek. Abdullah from China. Farheen from India. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Naam, Farheen, go ahead.
Yeah. So I had a question.
Naam, I'm listening.
Yeah. So I am from India, and I'm from South India. So we had this coconut trees beside our home. Coconut trees, which do not belong to us.
Yeah.
They belong to our close relatives, and we kind of take the coconuts and we sell it, right? I mean, because we are the one who maintains it.
Mm.
So I was asking if it is permissible.
Okay,
If it is
Farheen.
permissible for us to take the money by selling those, because we are the one maintaining it.
A question for you. Who actually own the field, the coconut field? Who own them?
It's not a field. We just have trees, and it's like owned by my uncle, like far relative.
طيب يا أختي فرحين, my respected sister Farheen, if the owner is known, then before collecting a single fruit, I need to seek the permission. Or I say, you give me the land, I'm going to maintain it, plant it, then I will collect the fruits and I will sell them. You strike a deal with them. But if there is an owner for anything, I'm not allowed to take it without their permission. Even if I have done them a favor and I water their land or their property, thank you so much. But there is an owner. And ownership in Islam, the personal and the public ownership is honored and respected. So just ask your uncle or whoever owns the property. If you're not taking care of it, I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But I will collect the fruits. If he says it's all yours, then it's all yours to eat it, to gift it, or even to sell it. Thank you, Farheen from India. Assalamu alaikum. Johnny from the USA, welcome to Ask with Johnny.
First, I just wanted to say thank you for answering my question the other day.
You're most welcome, Johnny.
Today, yes? You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Hello?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sheikh, my question today is, can you tell me, like, what is the best kind of volunteer act that we could do? Because I keep hearing, like, the most needy, but I mean, that's kind of obvious if you see somebody, like, you know, if you're outside and they just come up to you and they need help, that's easy. But practically speaking, like, if you're at home and you're trying to just decide what the most rewarding volunteer opportunity is, like, how would I go about looking for it? Can I, should I just take the easy approach and, like, ask to clean the mosque or clean parks?
Okay.
But the most important thing is I just want whatever is the most rewarding.
Well, there are a bunch of ahadith guiding us to this kind of work. As the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The best of people before Allah is the one who is more helpful to people. So the help may vary from one place to another. I mean, if I live in town, let me say if you live in Africa, and the whole village does not have a water well, okay, then the best thing that you can do voluntarily is to help in digging a water well, or you collect the fund from people to raise fund, or if you have the means to dig the water well by yourself. Oh, okay, so that now should be given the precedence. I live in the US, Sheikh, as I just figured. So we used to do free kitchen and feed the homeless, the people who are in need, the refugees. Go to the refugee camps and assist them, learn the language so that they can assimilate with the community, mingle with particularly the children, mingle with their colleagues at the school, volunteer in Sunday schools where you teach the youth and the children how to read Quran and how to behave, and mashallah, you're local, you're native, so you know how to go about it. This is greatly appreciated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Teaching one person an ayah of the Quran or how to recite the Quran. Every time they recite the Quran, they are rewarded, and mashallah, you're receiving a similar word. You find sometimes the Messenger of Allah answering a question about the best of charity. He said, Saqyul ma, giving water. Giving water to whom? To the people who are in need. On Friday, people are spending time in the masjid. It is very hot. When they leave the masjid with this huge crowd, somebody is standing with 3 bottles of water. Right at this time, this is the greatest volunteer work. MashaAllah. Okay, there is a traffic jam on Friday prayer because there are 3 sets of Friday Jumu'ah prayers because of the crowd. The Muslim community is outgrowing the masjid. So I attended the first Jumu'ah, and then I hang around during the second and the third to organize the traffic because I'm not working on Friday. So right at this time, this kind of job is the best, because depending on what is needed, what is being needed right now. Let me share with you. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, the great scholar, he was going for Hajj, and he used to perform Hajj every other year. So that means that he's done several Hajj before. On the way, when he came across a woman who was looking in the trash for anything that is edible, and he saw her fetching a dead chicken. So he followed her And when she reached to her tent, he found that she's gonna cook it. So he said, "O servant of Allah, don't you know that Allah has forbidden the dead meat?" She said, "Yeah, He has forbidden that for you, but for us it's halal. Because Allah says, إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ, except in cases of necessity. I'm looking after orphans and I have nothing to feed them." Okay, so now Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak was going for Hajj, and Hajj is such a great act of worship, whether it is the first Hajj or afterward. It's appreciated by Allah. It forgives the previous sins, it increases your wealth, etc. What did he do? He cancelled his Hajj trip, and all the money that he has been saving for Hajj, on the way he already sat out to travel to Mecca. He gave her the money, then he returned home. After the Hajj journey was accomplished and the pilgrims returned to Iraq, he saw in his night vision a dream that the Almighty Allah is conveying the message that your Hajj has been accepted, even though he did not set a foot outside his town. He just left, but he did not leave fully out of town. When he saw that there is a greater need, so right at this time was to save a family because they're starving. It depends on the situation. You're driving and all of a sudden you saw a flat tire or a tire or some load that fell from a truck, and if any person did not see it, they will flip over and it will cause a disaster. That's on the highway and it happens a lot. So you drove by, you pulled over, and you took the risk of picking up this item and putting it on a side of the road. Wow, this is an act which caused one person to enter Al-Jannah. As the Prophet ﷺ said, there was a man who entered paradise because of a branch of a tree that fell from a tree, obstructed the path of people. So he said, لَأُنَحِيَنَّهُ, I shall put it aside, not to harm people. So Allah admitted him to paradise. I hope you got the answer, Akhi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahmad from Uzbekistan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Ya Ahmad, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have a question about prayer. I'm traveling to another city, and as I pray short version, like instead of 4 rakat, 2 rakats. And how about if I want to join the local people in masjid? Do I join them for 4 rakat, or do I read shorter 2 rakat myself?
The Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. The Imam has been appointed to be followed. فإذا كبر فكبروا وإذا ركع فاركعوا وإذا رفع فارفعوا وإذا سجد فاسجدوا. So you follow every footstep behind the Imam. If you're a musafir and you're eligible to shorten your prayer, and you prayed behind a local person, whether in the masjid or outside the masjid, so if he prays full, you must pray full as well. Only if you're praying as an Imam, you may pray short, and then the follower, if he's local, will complete his prayer as regular. Thank you, Ahmad from Uzbekistan. Assalamu alaikum. Sidi from Germany. Sidi. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sidi, go ahead.
Sheikh, if a person is unmarried and he's surrounded by fitan and he's financially unable to get married, so is it a must, the obligation for the parents to help him also financially to getting married?
Look, Sidi, if the person is at marriageable age and he is serious about finding a job, he acquired the degree and he's been looking for a job, he leaves home early morning every single day, and his applications are being admitted and submitted here and there looking for a job, but he fears the fitna of lust and desire. His parents are well off, then it becomes obligatory upon them to support him financially to get married. Only when the child or when the person is lousy, is lazy, doesn't want to do anything, and he is just looking for somebody to spoon feed him, then no, I'm not helping you in order to be a man, because you're going to be a family father. Soon you will be a father for a child or children. So you have to learn how to earn your bread and provide for the family. But in the earlier condition, I'm a father and I have children. One of whom is serious about looking for a job, and I know that he's in love or he's about to fall in fitna, and I have the means, I should support him financially to get married. Sidi, thank you so much. And brothers and sisters, it's time to take a short break, and inshallah I'll be back in a couple minutes. Please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Our phone numbers would appear on the bottom of the screen. Feel free to dial any of the following numbers if you have any questions or concerns. Sister Amna from Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Dr. Muhammad Salah, I actually have a little...
Sister Amna, we lost your voice. Sister Amna, are you back?
And somehow my environment...
I'm sorry, can you start over because we didn't hear you? Amna?
At Islamabad. And before that, I was working where my brother was. And, you know, he always reminded me about praying on time and all the good things to do. But now my environment is such that nobody here like really talks about prayer, and I used to struggle with Fajr prayer, and now I find myself struggling with all the prayers, and I'm kind of depressed because I've started interacting with you know, people from opposite gender a bit more because everybody else is doing it. And it's kind of like we're like working as well, but we're like laughing and giggling all the time, and I'm so depressed. And I didn't even get time to look at your programs, and I used to do that so consistently. So I want to know if there's a prayer, because I'm kind of going away, and I used to struggle with Fajr, and now I find myself struggling with Isha and Dhuhr and Asr, so much more, and I'm just so upset about it. But I love doing the work that I'm doing. It's something I always wanted to do. But my environment has changed, and I'm finding it difficult to remain at least bare minimum. And I'm indulging in things that I don't want to indulge in, like watching movies. I stopped watching movies and going to cinema, but I started doing that again. So I'm so depressed. Is there something you can say, or maybe a prayer for me, or something I can recite that I can feel better? And not do these things
inshallah. I got your question, Sister Amna. We ask Allah the Almighty to put you back on the right track and to keep you steadfast on His straight path. But of course, first of all, the person has to have the will, not just the wish, to be willing to change, to be willing to act upon the will, not just the wishing. I mean, let me share with you quickly. You remember the hadith, the man who killed 99 people. And then when he had the sense of repenting, urge of, I feel like I'm depressed, I've done a lot of bad things, I want to repent. So when he was directed to a worshipper and he didn't answer him correctly, he also killed him. And now he had killed 100 people. Finally, when he took advantage of the urge of repenting and quitting, and he asked the right person, and he asked the scholar, and he said, "Ya Allah would always forgive you and accept your repentance, provided you're willing to show Allah that you sincerely repented." He said, number one, leave that town. Just leave that town. Do not stay in that town where you have killed the 100 people anymore. Why? What is wrong with the town? The place in which a criminal will survive and flourish and will keep killing, a serial killer, and no one is objecting, rather people are giggling and laughing and taking it easy, then it must be a wicked society. So the man sat out. He was very sincere in his repentance, and he left. Once he left, the angel of death collected his soul. And you know the story how the angels of mercy disputed with against the angels of punishment. The angels of Jannah said the guy repented, but the angels of hellfire, they said, but he did not do any good deed. And Allah the Almighty, because of his sincere repentance, the Almighty Allah made him enter paradise when he made the earth shrink the distance between his body and the new town. The catch in this long story, which I try to summarize, the key, the company, the environment, those are surrounding you. Amna, one day when I worked in the medical field in an international company, and there was a cycle meeting where I saw my colleagues drinking, and the doctors, the girls were dancing. It's a party. That was the last time I worked for the company. I quit because I realized that this is not the environment that I want to work in. Immediately, in a few days, Allah has given me much better replacement. Alhamdulillah wa shukrullah. If you say you're happy with the job, but meanwhile you're depressed, that is typical. So you're not actually happy. You're not actually enjoying your life. I don't care about the job. I care about my heart. I care about the moment that when I die, the angels say, لا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا. Rejoice. You should not be afraid. You should not feel sad. Rather, you should rejoice. Why? Alhamdulillah. Last thing I've done, if the angels come to take my life right now, I just prayed Asr. Alhamdulillah. If I go to sleep and I never wake up, last thing I did, I prayed Isha, and maybe I prayed Tahajjud as well. In the morning I prayed Fajr and I recited my adhkar after Fajr. If I die, you're going straight to heaven, Alhamdulillah. If you're not doing that, trust me, if you're making every day 100 grands, it is not worth it, and it will never make you feel happy. Guaranteed. So Amina, if you know that, and if you feel better, you were better before you moved into this kind of job or this kind of environment, then do not even double think about it. Say goodbye. I'm going back to where? Allah will find me a better job, but I need to be around the people who would remind me every prayer time. You hear the adhan, you quit, you go ahead and you pray on time. When the Prophet ﷺ said, when he was asked what is the best deed ever and the deeds to Allah, he said, as-salatu ala waqtiha, to offer the prayer, each prayer at its earliest time. A person who doesn't pray Fajr, his entire day is stripped of barakah. You eat whatever you eat, you drink whatever you drink, you achieve, you get promoted, you get raised, but you're not happy. Because happiness is from Allah. Ayah 128, Surah Taha, the Almighty Allah says, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. The person who deliberately chooses to turn away from the guidance of Allah, for us as Muslims in the Quran, in the inspiration of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you turn away from that, wallahi, there is no happiness. There is no happiness. Steve Jobs, read what he said after achieving billions of dollars, and how kind of miserable life that he was living. And the whole world at his fingertip did not bring him a moment of happiness. But one day when I did not have any money in my pocket, but I was so happy, because it is not the wealth which brings the happiness. It is when you fulfill what Allah has created you for. So Allah the Almighty will fill your heart with joy, delight and happiness. Wealth, promotion, job, worldly achievements, these are all means, but without the essential component, which is the pleasure of Allah, no one is going to be happy. Trust me, this is what Allah promised. Check out this ayah and the previous one, 127 of Surah Taha. Finally, you asked about the dua. Actually, it was the most frequently recited dua by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anas ibn Malik narrated that he oftenly heard him reciting, Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. O Allah, the one who changes the hearts, keep my heart firm on your religion. And al-Mu'mineen Aisha radiyallahu anha said, I heard him in his sujood in the middle of the night. I was asleep and he was praying. Then in his sujood, I heard him whispering, Rabbi ati nafsi taqwaha, wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha, anta waliyuha wa mawlaha. In your sujood, beg Allah for guidance. Say, my Lord, purify myself, fill my heart with guidance. Ati nafsi taqwaha, wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha, anta waliyuha wa mawlaha. May Allah guide all of us, Sister Amina. Assalamu alaikum. Mahmoud from India. Sorry, Mahmoud, we kept you on the line for so long. Yeah, Mahmoud, you can try again. Tanvir from Bangladesh. Yeah, Tanvir. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Okay, I guess we'll take another call. Tanvir, you're busy in the kitchen. Arshad from Sri Lanka. Arshad, can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have two questions.
Naam.
First one is, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
First one is, can I travel to a Kafir country from a Kafir country for work to earn money? The country I'm traveling, I can practice Islam because I have my family there. There is also a masjid. And the second question is, in my country, it's locked down. We live in a place like a village. In front of my house, we used to play in a small place. Although the government has imposed lockdown, are we still sinful for playing in lockdown outdoor? But we people are always together. We are family.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
A person who's living in a non-Muslim country and doesn't have an access to migrate to a Muslim society, but he has a chance to travel to another non-Muslim country where he would also be free to offer his ibadat and it would not affect his iman, whether here or there. Yes, it's permissible to move between these countries to increase your earning and your provision. In lockdown condition, is it permissible for a group of people to get together and pray in Jama'ah? Yes, it is permissible. Thank you, Tanvir. That was our brother from Sri Lanka, Arshad. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Maryam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ya Maryam, how are you and how's your family?
Alhamdulillah, we are doing great. And how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I feel very happy when I hear your voice, mashallah. Have your school?
Jazakallahu khairan.
Have your school started already, Maryam?
Actually, I've been doing homeschooling with my father, but inshallah, I will be starting school.
Wonderful. So, at what grade you are in currently?
Currently, I am in year 5.
5th grade. MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. Are you good in math?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Lovely. I love to hear that. So, what is your question today, Maryam?
Well, my question is, the government is saying because of COVID-19, we need to use this hand sanitizer a lot. And some sanitizers have a bit of alcohol in it. So is it permissible to use them or should we try to lower to use them, inshallah?
Inshallah, it is permissible to use it, sweetheart. You can definitely use it. And after you use it, you can wash off your hands with water. The impurities of alcohol, even if it is like pure alcohol, 97% alcohol as antiseptic, it's permissible to use, but it's not permissible to consume. Then after you use it, you can wash off your hand better. Okay? Thank you, Maryam. A beautiful call, mashallah. Sister Fatima from Kenya.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I wanted to ask about this old man that doesn't have family, and we take care of him. We send him to the market, and to my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, we keep sending him, but we give him food, and a little money. This little money, sometimes he goes and drink. So people are discouraging us to not to help him, but sometimes he go back to the masjid. He become a good person. He has no one else, so what can we do?
Continue helping him. Continue helping him, Sister Fatima. Barakallahu fiki. May Allah bless you and your family. Continue helping him. Subhanallah, I believe last night Sheikh Saeed Ragi and I and myself had a phone conversation. We were planning to go to Kenya, inshallah Azza Jal. I love Kenya. I love Nairobi. Assalamu alaikum. Shahid from Norway. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Huda, Shahid.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you, Sheikh?
I'm doing great, alhamdulillah. What is your question, brother?
Yeah. Sheikh, I have three sisters and they have three sons, okay? So can I like adopt them and like take care of them for future?
You're free to do that, and you will be rewarded as long as your sister is okay with that. Sometimes one of the siblings, sometimes one of the siblings is not fortunate of having children. So another sibling have 6, 7 children. Says you can have 2. Take care of upbringing them and educating them. So he treats them like, as long as they still maintain their last name, the name of their father. So you're only fostering them, upbringing them, educating them, and you will be rewarded for that. So that's halal. Enjoy it. Assalamu alaikum. I guess we can take one more call. Mahmoud from India, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I hear you. Bismillah, what is your question, Mahmoud?
Yeah, because I know the time is short, but I put it in a very small sort of thing. You see, I'm taking some medication of prostate, where the medicine stops the ejaculation and the discharge of the semen completely. So if I have a dream in the night, what we call that wet dream, and when I get up, I find that nothing is on, there's no string on my clothes. So is it must to take a bath or not? Because there's no string or nothing has come out.
Okay. طيب. First of all, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you shifa. I figured in the beginning that you had a stroke and you're taking medication and so on. And it was a bit not easy to comprehend the question. But what nullifies the ablution is either defecation or urination or breaking wind. Sometimes, or sleeping, because sleeping, you may not break wind. So in case of sleeping, it will give you the same hukm. Unless if you're sitting like this, where you control yourself. But if you're lying down or reclining, any of these conditions will break your wudu, then you will have to make a new wudu. May Allah give you shifa, Brother Muhammad from India. With that, brothers and sisters, we've come to the end of today's edition of Ask Huda. We ask Allah the Almighty to cure all our brothers and sisters who are not feeling well. We ask the Almighty Allah to lift this pandemic from earth, to bring peace, tranquility, happiness and joy to all of you brothers and sisters, to make it easy for the young youth who are marriageable age to get married and to facilitate that for them. and to make it easy for the married couples who are not blessed with children yet to bless them with goodly offspring. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the greatest conclusion to our lives and admit us to paradise. May He forgive us our sins, our parents, and all our loved ones. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance.